What's going on, everybody? Jacob Driver here, and welcome to another episode of Neighborhood Growth Spotlight, the series where I take some of your recommendations and analyze the value growth in that community and how it stacks up to those around it. Today's spotlight is on the Altamira community in Carlsbad, so stay tuned to see how this coastal Carlsbad community compares to those around it. Today's episode will be a little bit different than the past episode because there is a specific question that my clients had, not just about their neighborhood's growth, but about how the size of the properties affect the value as well. So first we'll take a look at our spotlight area of Altamira. We'll show my data parameters, analyze the neighborhood growth, but we'll also compare the 2-bedroom and 3-bedroom properties in that neighborhood. So I have clients of mine that obviously own a property in Altamira, and they have a 2-bedroom property and they're considering adding a third, and they want to know how adding that additional bedroom will affect the property's value. So for those of you that are unfamiliar with the Altamira community, it is a development in coastal Carlsbad, just between Poinsettia and Palomar Airport Road, just east of the 5 freeway. It consists of approximately 400 units, all of which are either 2-bedroom or 3-bedrooms. Because the Altamira community consists of only 2 to 3-bedroom attached properties, I wanted to make sure to filter all the data by those parameters so that there was no skewing of any kind when we're looking at the comparisons between the city, the ZIP, and the county. The measure that we're using to assess the growth, as always, is the median sales price. But because Altamira is a relatively smaller community, I felt it would be more accurate to use 12 months instead of our typical 3 months for the data points, because there's not going to be as much turnover in a smaller community as compared to a larger one. Unfortunately, I lost the original file where I went over this information, but I wanted to include it in this video because I think it's important to note. So here you see our comparisons between the county, the city, the ZIP, and our spotlight of Altamira. In these parameters of the attached 2 to 3 bedrooms, you see San Diego County has grown nicely over the past years, looking at year-over-year growth of 18.5%. Carlsbad looking at 24% year-over-year growth in this subset. The zip code itself at 22%, so this hasn't been the fastest growing zip code in all of Carlsbad, but if you look at Altamira community itself, it has grown on pace with Carlsbad, meaning it's one of the faster growing communities in 92011 and right on par with Carlsbad, outperforming the pace of San Diego County by about 6%. So this is something that's pretty cool about what I want to do with this series and really answer some questions that you guys have. And again, back to the source of this video, which was, Jacob, how does adding a 3rd bedroom affect the value of my property? First, we're going to look at how those 3 bedrooms have grown as compared to 2 bedrooms, and then we'll look at the value itself. But what I think is really cool about this video in particular is it's going to show us not only the difference in growth and value, but in adding this bedroom for these clients, they'll have a makeshift budget for the renovation of how much they think they can spend and not change their property's value to a point where they're still going to be getting their money back. So not overspending on their renovations. So as we look at the growth itself between the 3 bedrooms and the 2 bedrooms, you can see it's kind of fluctuated in the past. A lot of that has to do with it being such a small sample size that I think right here in February of 2019 there wasn't even a sale of 3 bedrooms, so it's going to fluctuate. But if we just kind of imagine the trend lines of the two, you can tell that the 3 bedrooms have grown a little bit quicker than the 2 bedrooms, and if you're looking at the last year, the year-over-year growth here, the 3 bedrooms have gone up in value by 32%, whereas the 2 bedrooms have only grown by 23%. A lot of that has to do with the growing demand in that area of a 3 bedroom as, you know, the generations get older and people have more kids and things like that. So it's kind of answers a question for us there. But now looking at the price difference, you can see again this is kind of fluctuated in the past. That has to do with who's occupying those communities there and just, you know, what's on the market and the conditions there. Because this is a small sample size, that's going to fluctuate a lot. But you look at the median and the average difference, they're right around the same of $60,000, $65,000. But the current difference here between the 2 bedrooms to the 3 bedrooms is $116,000. So that's a pretty big number, and that could have to do with the lack of 3 bedrooms in that neighborhood. So there's a big demand for 3 bedrooms there. So adding that third bedroom for my clients will add a good amount of desirability. But also what this shows us is their budget for the renovations. I'd say they should be shooting for around that $60,000 mark, and they would still be able to get a good return on their investment, or at least break even. Thanks so much for watching today's video, guys. This was a fun one for me because this was really my goal of this series, was to answer real questions that you guys have about real estate, and I thought this was a fun way to dive into a real life question that a client of mine had. So if you found this interesting, please leave a like. If you have a neighborhood that you'd like to be featured in a future video, please leave the name in a comment below. Or if you have a question similar to this about how certain things can affect your property value, you can always leave that in a comment too, or you can reach me on my cell phone, 760-994-8280. Thanks so much for tuning in, and looking forward to seeing you all next week.